not addressed on the inside. The functionality occurs on the inside, and they are just used. How to explain?
Well, obviously there was some type of technology that was used in order for that blast. And of course, this is before the blast ever happened.
Okay,
Listen to this. I'd like you to go to
wait.
where there is a group of people
Hold on,
who.
Hank. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
She
Continue.
she's she hears the question and she's explaining something about it.
Ah, very good.
Our technology didn't survive the trip here intact. Along our journey, more and more of the technology had to be jettisoned and sacrificed to keep the journey to here coming. By the time that we got here, the technology of the others was known to us as our technology was remembered, but we don't have access to the good stuff here. We are like, it's good life and we can do a lot, but essentially, spirit of the people lessening now that we've been here generations. The youngsters don't remember nor care, but people tell stories of what it used to be like.
And so does she realize that you are bilocating from Earth right now from a point in what we consider the future?
Yes.
Ah, very good. And where did you come from before you came to Gaia or to the planet Earth?
The journey lasted so long. The memories of where we came from are past,
Understood.
almost lost, indistinguishable from legend or myth. People only talk about the journey as being the destination.
Very good. And how are you communicating? Are you communicating via telepathy,
She's speaking to me
verbally,
verbally.
but yet she can hear my questions?
Yes.
And does she know who I am or the aspect of myself there?
She's explaining.
Very good.
Yes. She knows who you are and she knows who you are in the now that I am in now, meaning the space and place that she occupies presently.
So in
But
that,
she won't tell me who you are.
so she understands, and to be just to be clear, she understands who I am in terms of my the one that is there with you that when that weapon went off and we were sort of petrified into these blood diamond forms, and she knows who I am in terms of me as Hank here on the planet Earth, uh, doing this process with you as well. But she won't tell you about that person, correct?
Yes. More details. Here she goes. The you that I'm speaking to is my son, is not my son. The you that I'm speaking to knows what is will happen, but when you leave, the you that is you, that will still one day be the you of the present day, will experience it as anew and won't remember.
And so this is the CW or the Hank.
Yes, when CW ceases to occupy this space with her, the CW that was this past life will resume along their normal time track. She knows that I am who I am, but she knows that I have new knowledge from the future that will leave when I leave.
Very good. Well, tell her thank you very much. And the race, the species must have been extremely wise and extremely perceptive. And here you are with this opportunity. Does it change anything for her to see you come through as such?
There's a knowingness about her, an acceptance, and she obviously has a knowledge, a forecasting, or a prediction, or an ability to know what will happen, though she doesn't seem concerned. Most likely tied to the fact that she accepts and knows and understands that we're visiting for the future, and therefore, what's there to worry about? One lives, one dies, one closes their eyes, one opens their eyes, one breathes in, one breathes out.
Excellent. I want you to give her a hug if you can and thank her. She's clarified a lot of things, and we are very appreciative. Tell her I'm very appreciative as well.
She knows it.
Ah, very good. And we're going to make our way back to the ship, the marble green ship. And
There,
you, have you made it back?
there, yes.
Ah, very good. This time I'm taking us where we're going next.
No worries.
No worries at all.
No worries at all.
Does that clarify for you what our connection was?
Yes, sir.
Ah, very good. And now, since we've gone into what we consider the past, would you like to take a trip into the future?
I'd like to go wherever you want to guide me, baby.
Ah, very good. So let's move forward. Let's move forward in time beyond 2017, maybe to 2050, or maybe between 2050 and 2030, to the time where it would help us tremendously to where we would meet here on the earth and get the best answers we could possibly get about a few inquiries that we have, mainly to do with our consciousness and communications. And is the ship moving?
Yes.
Ah, very good. Is it moving fast or is it moving slow?
The ship stays still. The planet rotates around us at an exceptional speed.
Ah,
And what
very good.
rotates around us moves beneath us.
And we're going to get there in a count of 5, 4, 3, halfway there, 2, almost there, and 1. We're arriving at the most appropriate time and place where we can speak to entities that will give us information about the now. And where have we stopped?
2045.
2045. Very good. And are you still on the ship?
Yes.
Well, let's go ahead and get off the ship and tell me where were you able to land and get off at?
I'm in the grassy area.
And
That
I'd like, I'm sorry, to look at yourself and see your form.
I appear to be human.
Male or female?
I feel my body. I feel this body.
Oh, very good. And so you say you're in the grassy field. I want you to just look up in the air and tell me what the atmosphere looks like.
It's night. but it's brighter than I would expect, like the best moonlight possible. But Hank, I see something up,
What do you
like
see?
space.
Take a long, slow, deep breath. Inhale. And as you exhale, feel the relaxation move through your body and your vibration rises and everything becomes very clear. And you may share, please.
You want me to describe it? it
I have a feeling what it is, but I want you to
yeah.
describe it.
Okay. Starting from the furthest point from me and moving up towards closer to me, though it's far, far away, but like a building floating in space. Starts with a cone, cylinder, small little spine section, extends out, stops, and then there's a flowering of petal-like nested radar dish, very organic looking. There's a point right after the first initial blossoming of radar dishes of a long stem like thing that comes out, bright white light on the end,
Would you
going back to the main structure. It continues down, one more flowering out of radar dishes.
you say radar dishes?
The best way I can describe it, it's like they're different types, but it's like petals of a flower.
Ah, understood. Would you say it's a city in the sky or just a
It's
building?
large enough to be.
Ah, large enough to be and it's floating. Oh, well, obviously, levitating.
Yes, it seems to be, I guess, in orbit of some variety, but it's just big enough to see.
And if you look in the other direction, what's behind you?
A forest.
Little forest or big forest?
Seems big.
Ah, very good. And what about your garb? What are you wearing?
Jack shit, nothing.
Repeat.
Nothing. I'm naked.
Ah, you're always naked, dude. Okay. And so,
No eye for fashion.
the would you like to go toward this floating city?
Sure.
All right, let's go ahead and move forward. And how do you? Are you walking?
I'm floating.
You are floating. Were you floating from the moment you arrived there, or were you
Oh,
standing?
I was standing when you began the journey to the space station. I began floating up and toward it.
Ah, very good. And you say space station, but you think it's in the atmosphere, not over the planet, or
It's in the sky. I guess it would be out of Earth's orbit, like just outside, like sitting on top of the surface of the bubble. I guess.
does it cast a shadow?
And look down. Not at night.
Oh, it is in the night. Okay. And as you're rising up, how high are you now?
I'm moving very slowly, so I'm not that high. I'd say about like
Well, this is what I'd like you to
50
do. I'd
feet.
like you to 200. 200 feet up. I just want you to shoot 200 feet up and just stop and look back at the earth and tell me what do you see? What is it? What's below you?
Okay. The clearing that I was in, the forest to the upper left hand corner. To the right hand corner, there's a large river. There's a bridge across it, and there's a city on the other side.
What city is that?
I don't know.
That's okay. Okay, and continue to. And what does the city look like? Just the description of the architecture.
Very dense. Like someone took all of New York City. Ooh, you know what it's like? You know, San Francisco, it's big and small. It's like everything in New York City got shrunk down into like a San Francisco. It's a very tight, very dense. It's almost like things have been built on top of things. Like I can't see any streets because it's all one big glob of building. Different
And
set, different architecture, outcroppings and inlays, but but not like there's no space. It just goes bubbles out.
is it lit up?
Oh yeah,
So it looks pretty gorgeous, huh?
looks amazing.
And what about uh, planes, helicopters, anything like that?
I see transports, air transports coming in like a helicopter, but without any top rotor, wider.
Things are
It's
levitating.
yeah, they fly.
Very good.
See them going into ports.
So you choose. We can do both. We have enough time. We're still doing good on time. Do you want to go toward the city, or do you want to go toward the one in the sky?
I don't know. I really am. I really, what I really want to see is
Talk to me.
the ground city. That's
Okay,
my.
very good. All right, listen. Pay close attention to what I'm saying. Take another long, slow, deep breath. Inhale deeply and slowly release it. We're going to move. I've actually been to 2045 before, and there is a council that I'm actually on where we get together and we communicate. That's where I want you to go to in this particular place. I want you to move to the council, and you're going to be there in a count of five, four, three, halfway there, outside the door, two, and one. Now, where is this place where you are now?
I enter through the entrance. There's a long along the edge of the city bubble. There's a strip like a patio, but no effort is needed to make it level or it can be at an angle. You land on it, and I can go through, and there's a big window. You
Oh,
know,
excellent. And was there a dome over that city?
it's like the dome is the city.
Okay, very good, because of the density of it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And as you continue, is it
Okay. So if I'm standing looking at the big gorgeous window, it extends up 20 feet, tapers down, like a top of an egg, and on either side there's human-sized entryways where I can walk in. I can choose to enter on the left. I can choose to enter on the right. Ooh, there's another one. I could go forward into the middle.
well, there is someone that's going to come out and greet you and take you to the councils. But at first, I'd like you to take a look at yourself now and see how you're garbed. What are you wearing?
Well, now I've changed form completely, Hank. I'm
That's
not trying.
okay. Give it to me.
I'm like a light bulb on top of a long stick, circuitry stick, and there's two circuitry sticks that come out to the end and back in. Ooh,
Coda,
there's
you said you're like a light bulb on top of a stick?
yeah, like it's a circuitry stick, and there's like these, like, but there's four of them on either side. I know my orientation is can go forward, backward, left. Like I can look in any direction simultaneously. It must be
Excellent.
sort of artificial thing.
So what's coming to greet you to take you to the council?
A tall man. I would identify him as African American by skin tone, but I know it's different than that. He's bald. The ears are exceptionally small, but other than that, he appears human.
Excellent. And does he greet you?
Yes.
And what does he say to you as he greets you?
Hello. And he notes, he says, You've gone through a bit of confusion. Look how you've arrived.
Excellent.
He's doing something. Hold on.
Okay, tell me what he does. Very good.
He seems to make some sort of adjustments to me, the device, and now I'm human again.
Very good. And what form have you taken?
I'm back to being myself.
Excellent. Are you wearing garments?
I'm wearing clothes this time.
What are you wearing?
A gray, almost prisoner like outfit, or like
Okay,
scrubs, like a doctor would wear.
I see that. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let him take you in. And does he have a name?
Do you have a name? Anu.
Anu. Very good. And tell me what it looks like to the door from the door through whatever you go through to get to where you're going, where the this council is.
He leads me by the hand. We go in. The door, it's like a solid piece of glass. It neither opens nor closes. We just pass through it.
And what's on the inside?
The floor is black, reflective, looking around. Okay, how to describe this? Like a half circle of floor, like a like a section of a cone, almost. You know,
Understood.
like a third of a cone, but softer, if that makes sense. The floor is black and in perfect proportion, midway between the interior edge and the exterior edge is like a long table extending all the way from one end of the one surface wall to the next surface wall.
Good. I think I've been here before. I'm almost absolutely sure. And who's at this table?
One individual to the right, in addition to Anu, the man who's guiding me. But presently, he's aware of the fact that I'm observing.
How tall is Anu compared to you?
3 feet, like, no, like 2.5 feet taller than me, 2 feet taller than me,
Okay.
7, 8 feet.
And who's this at the table?
It's an alien life form. They're sitting there observing me. They're looking at me. They have their chin propped on their hand.
A pen, you
A
say?
cat laissez faire attitude. They are sitting, clearly sitting, but to my eyes, it appears that they're sitting on nothing, as if they're floating.
And there's just one person there then.
Yes,
And could you go ahead and describe this extraterrestrial then, or this alien form?
it appears the same way as the alien that I saw on the pyramid on our first journey. We have the long, thin body, the hands, the fin extending back. He's telling me something. He goes,
Uh,
"Don't worry. This is me. It's not any limitation of your imagination. Don't be surprised if you see the same things over and over again. The same things exist in the universe."
very good. And tell him thank you very much for receiving him again, or receiving you again.
Thank you.
I'd just like you to first ask him, how real is this? How real is this to? How real is this? Is this just a figment of your imagination?
He tells me again, he goes, figment of your imagination or not a figment of your imagination. It's you that will define and decide. It's you that have to make the ultimate choice. No one can tell you, no one can show you, because look how much has been shown to you. And still, you waffle and you wave and you waver for fear of getting the answer wrong. You choose to stand at the parapet. You choose not to make a choice.
At the parapet, the purpose, the purposes,
Parapet, the edge, the line,
precipice, the precipice.
demarcation line.
Okay, the demarcation line. Very good.
Precipice.
Precipice. That's the word. There you go.
Yeah. You speak in my language, there you go.
Very good. And I want you to ask them, can they bring Hank forward, or the higher aspect of ask the higher aspect of Hank to join you.
Okay. But I will tell you this first, Hank, just to tell you he's doing something with my hands. He's
Oh, very
like
good. I'm sorry.
testing my muscle reflexes. He's like stretching me out like a doctor would move your hands involuntarily.
Okay, go
Not
ahead.
to the point of pain, but he's just doing that still. And then I'll ask him.
Okay, take your time and let him. And even if you can telepathically ask him what he's doing while he's doing it, he probably will give it back to you.
Can Hank come forward? And he's telling me that the only reason that Hank is not coming forward is because I'm keeping Hank away because I'm scared that I'm going to get the answer wrong.
And why are you afraid? I thought you weren't afraid.
Well, I don't want to let anybody down, Hank. I'd hate to disappoint you and burst your bubble.
How could you possibly let me down or burst my bubble? I think you are somehow reading or telling me what I think or believe or something from your own observation. But how well do you know me? Not at all.
Fair enough.
I've been here lots of times in this space. I don't know why I wouldn't show up for you. I want you to address it to the greeter. That's who he was the first time, right? The greeter, is that who this is?
Not the greeter, because the greeter is a function, an occupation that can be occupied by a living thing or entity.
Oh,
But the
from
thing
so
or entity is what not being, he's not the greeter now. He's a member of this high
council.
council.
Ah, very good. Ask him, does this council have a name?
Does this council have a name? Of course it does. Every council has names.
And what's the name of this council then?
Well, he gave me an answer, so I'll give it to you, and I don't know if it's the right council. He says it's the Orion Council. And I'll tell you, Hank, I gotta be honest, even in this state, with a goddamn alien right in front of me, this guy named Anu, and I'll tell you something else that'll blow your mind. You could sit down at this bench, but you don't sit down on anything. It's like there's this air column, this like thing. It's like you can feel it. It's like cushiony, but there's nothing there. It's like you levitate on it, but it levitates you, and you sit on it like a bar.
But
You
I'm
know?
familiar. I told you I'm familiar with this place.
Okay.
You're the one who's having the hard time. But you're there though, aren't you?
Yeah, but what if you're on like the Alpha Council and I say Orion and I say Orion Council, but everyone says Orion Council. That's like a thing, right?
But no, they don't. No, they don't. I've been in front of the Orion Council. I've been in front of the Andromeda Council. I've been in front of a Palladian Council. I've been in front of the councils of all councils here on the Earth in 2046. So what are you talking about? You're assuming too much. You're in your right brain, your left brain, with the who, what, why, where, and you're overthinking. But it's hard to do in the midst of where you are, isn't it?
Yeah. Who wrote
Ah,
who
no one did.
wrote it? It's crazy. It's not.
But yet there you are.
There I am.
And even in this conversation, you haven't just all of a sudden snapped out of it and going, oh my God, what was that? You're still there. So I want you to
No,
stay there. And once again, take another long, slow, deep breath and release the fear as you release. And I don't care. I'm not going to be unsatisfied or whatever, dude. Like I said, um, it's good for you to think highly of yourself, but I tell you, it's not going to matter to me one way or the other. But I know that I'm there, and so I'd
Well,
like you to ask the council member. There's more than that. There's more on that council than just that one person. I would like for you to ask him for everyone to show themselves. That table is not meant for just one. Let everyone show themselves, and as they show themselves, I want you to tell me how many are there now.
in innumerable, there's like a ton. It's butts to nuts. Everyone's right next to each other.
So
There's a
how
guy to
many?
my left and a guy to my right.
So what?
All down the line, it's all filled up.
Okay, and what do these entities look like?
There's all sorts of folk. There's all sorts of people. There's humans. There's a couple of like I guess I would define them as like robot-y guys. There's kind of vapors, like energy vapors. You know, there's reptilians. There's big things. A couple of things just strike out. You wonder how they got in the room. There's one thing. It's like how to describe it? Like a giant pine cone.
I understand. Now I want you to ask. Say, all right, Hank, raise your hand. Which one of them is Hank?
No, no, you're making a grand entrance.
Oh, am I really? Okay.
Okay, okay, I can describe you.
Where did I? Which way did I come through?
The center,
Very
like
good. Your heart
not where
look.
I came in, but directly across from where I came in, at the apex of the section of the cone thing.